Good morning. Good morning. I suppose it's morning still here. I'm doing this in English because I'd like it to be more available, not only to the Italian audience as I normally do, but to an international audience. Since the beginning of the war in Israel, I've been very quiet and I've not really brought out any of my own feelings. I just sort of wanted to see what would happen, what is going on, how the world would react to what's happening. And basically, Shavuot was in between. So during that period of time, obviously, I was much more concerned about connecting myself to the giving of the Torah instead of thinking about making statements. Today, I'm thinking about making statements. One of the reasons is that a friend of mine came to see me today, and she made me aware that people are listening to what I have to say. And that's a good thing. Even if mostly I don't agree with what is being put out there. So I decided it was high time that I put out what I think and what I feel. The fact that Israel exists, that it's always existed and will always exist, is not even a question. The fact that there was always war, that there will be always war, is also not a question, because Torah says so, and because the world says so. The world has always been in exactly the same frame of mind that it is today, and basically nothing has changed. Certainly, we haven't changed as human beings. We haven't changed as Jews. We haven't changed as Jews who have a country again after thousands of years. But what in reality is happening is that we have to begin looking at things in a different way. If we only look at things in a political way, we've lost our own identity, which is absolutely nothing new, because for centuries and centuries, Jews have always tried to assimilate to the point of not being recognized, of not being identified. Obviously, this has never worked because Hitler went back to the fourth generation to find if there was any Jewish blood And whether or not you like it or not, that's who you are. So if that's who you are, wouldn't it seem reasonable, intelligent, to accept who you are and be who you are at all times? So here comes the conversation of what does this have to do with politics? Well, the state of Israel was founded by an international decision. But the state of Israel was not founded by an international decision. The decision for the state of Israel, for the land of Israel, for the holy land of Israel is God's decision. It certainly is not a Jewish, a Hebrew decision, but it's God's decision. The idea of taking away the land is nonsensical because you can't take away the land that God gave you. And the criteria of where that land is, how it should be the Jewish land, is not a question either, because the Torah explains it, says it, and God says, I will give you, and this is your land. The fact that Jerusalem is the center in quotations of the world and the center of Israel and the capital of a Jewish existence, no matter where Jews are in the world, there is no question about that either. The fact is that Al-Aqsa was built on Mount Zion 2,000 years after the temple was destroyed, the second temple was destroyed. In other words, what are we talking about? Your land, where did it come to be your land? Where does it come to be Jewish land? It comes from exactly the same place. God said so, and that's the way it is. The fact that in Israel we have a non-religious lay land is due to the politics that basically have nothing to do with the Holy Land and nothing to do with Jerusalem. What is the fight about? You're fighting God. You're not fighting Israel, the country, and you're not fighting a soldier. You're throwing missiles, but you're realizing, hopefully you're realizing, or at some point you must realize that your missiles and where you're throwing them are being deferred. You can, and I'm not speaking specifically about Hamas, not about jihad, I'm speaking in general. You can attack this land. You can look to destroy this land. But in actuality, you're attacking God and you're looking to destroy God. It's something that you will never, ever be able to do. Would be such a better idea to join God, to join God in peace, to join the Jewish people in peace, to join the world in peace, to go and look for a way, but really look for a way to live in peace in a world that is destructed because of evil, destructed because of non-thought of God. You know, I read a lot of stuff, and in all of the things I read from Israel, about Palestinians, about pandemic, there is one ingredient that is missing. It's not there. God is not there. The creator of the universe is not there. The reason for the existence of the Jewish people is not there. The right of the Jewish people to their land, their Jerusalem, their temple, their life is not there. Nobody talks about that. More than that, you talk in vis-a-vis, in person, to an anti-Semite, okay? In reality, has no idea why he is an anti-Semite, has no clue what it means to be a Jew, has no clue what Judaism is all about, has no clue why Israel is Israel and not Africa. Ignorance on all counts is the destructive point. Power, on the other, is destruction. What's missing is knowledge. What's missing is truth. What's missing is desire for peace. Desire for peace. Not desire for destruction and desire for death and desire for territory and desire for, no, desire for peace. Desire to live in a world that has ideals. Maybe I'm naive. I don't believe so. I know it is possible to achieve that if you desire it. But who desires it? And who is willing to make the sacrifices in order for those desires to really become reality. The first of all conversations has to begin with Jewish identity. Jewish identity means Torah. That means learning, it means understanding, it means being who you are, knowing why you are, and putting your life into that who you are. If you don't have that, talking about it and making statements how you're so pro-Israel and you'll stand with Israel always, that's very nice and totally meaningless. Because if you understand what Israel is and what it's meant to be and what it's meant to represent, and what the desire of every Jew needs to be, then you can also understand that the idea of an Israel that is a sacred place, that is a place that is guided by God, that is guided by Torah, that is guided by commandments, that is guided by a desire to cleave to God. Without that, there is no solution. When you understand that the solution lies in Torah, and Torah talks about it continuously, all the time, every week, it's the same conversation. But Torah and politics don't mix. No, that's not really exactly the case. Torah should be the politics of the Jewish people. Torah should be the politics of the world, because from the moment of creation of what we call a world, there should be a unification, and there should be the humanness, which is not there, because there is no respect from one Jew to the other, no respect and no honesty and no fidelity and no listening to commandments, living by commandments. Politics? Where is God's politics? Where is faith politics? Where is belief politics? Where is the understanding of why, in reality, why there is a total, a complete, and there should be a complete understanding of what the Holy Land means and why it exists for the Jewish people and is the homeland of the Jewish people. If you really, really want to form an opinion, as so many writers and speakers do, go and pray and talk to God and respect the word of God. And when you go and read and respect the word of God, you can never be an anti-Semite. You can never be disrespectful to human life. You can never be a terrorist. You can never be an abominable anything, because you would have a guideline and you would have knowledge of something other than evil. You would have knowledge of good. A 100%, in my opinion, is God returning in all things to God, knowing in all ways that that's the real law, and that G5, F1, whatever, the next plane, the next Iron Dome, the next submarine, the next atomic bomb, the next epidemic, the next, in reality has nothing to do with any of that external stuff, but has totally to do with everything that is godly. When horrible things happen, and they happen one after the other, after the other, after the other, it's not a reason for fundraising, but it's a reason for praying. It's a reason to understand what God wants, where He wants us to go, what He wants us to be. As Jews, certainly. As human beings, absolutely. I don't hear the religious leaders of the world talking about God, except for a few rabbis, really, really powerful rabbis that are looking to bring back the Jewish people to their roots, to who they are. I don't hear great non-Jewish leaders talking about with force and with power and with belief that the time to return to God is way overdue. It's not about Israel per se. It's not about pandemic per se. It's about humanity, all of it. That everybody stands on who they are, and that is the way it needs to be, and that there is a peaceful coexistence for all. That it's not about a religion, and it's not about a color, and it's not about a race, but it's about humanity, and it's about God's creation. And when you speak about God's creation, you speak about the land, you speak about the world, you speak about environment, you speak about every conceivable subject. Why? Because it's all His. It's all His. Come back to God. Come back to Torah. Come back. Come back. Come back to understanding, to love, to believe, to being responsible for your humanity. All of us together. And when we do things together, and we all go the same way, and the same way is only peace for everyone, God will take away the gezerah, the judgment, the negative judgment for the whole world, and bring us peace. Shalom.